Okay, before I start today's Emu Deck for Windows setup guide, if you like what you see today, hit notifications, subscribe and like so you don't miss out on upcoming retro emulation content here on my channel, Just Jamie. That means you'll get notified with every setup guide I release, which is every day, in fact several times a day, and it really helps out my channel a great deal too, for which I'm always really grateful for. So we've not covered Emu Deck for a little while now, and here we go. We are going to cover the latest and greatest stable release of Emu Deck for Windows. Now this is absolutely free, it's a very good front end. What we're going to need is obviously Steam. Now Steam's a great application for PC gamers. We need to install Steam first, so if you don't have this, sign up with Steam and make sure you're logged in. Next up, we're going to go to the EmuDeck website and we're going to just drop down to download. And as we can see, EmuDeck is available for several different platforms these days. What we're going to do is download the Windows plus Android version of this. And we're going to go to downloads for free. And that's going to download a tiny little file, EmuDeck.cmd. If this doesn't pop up for you, look in your downloads folder. However, we're just going to left click on this one. And this is going to bring up a little command terminal. We're just going to let this do its thing. And if you get slow DNS detected, just go to yes. And should you get a pop-up saying, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device, Windows PowerShell, just press yes on this. And we're also going to allow changes for Git for Windows, just press yes if you get this pop-up. Okay, this is it then. This is the latest Emu Deck, building the front end and back end and everything yourself. And here we go. Manage your emulators. That simple. Okay, I'll just expand the window. So first thing we need to do is just go down to manage emulators. And from here we can update all configurations at once. If you've never used Emu Deck before, then we do need to install emulators like so. So first of all, we're going to go for Retroarch. Now the beautiful thing about this is that in each emulator, it's literally going to highlight just there the BIOS files that we need. So as we can see in red, mine are missing currently. So what we're going to do first of all then is just go to install, and we're going to install Retroarch. Retroarch is going to power our games and make our games work. So if I just left click on install. Okay, great, so Retroarch installed. So what we're going to do then is just go to close. And if we then go back to manage emulators, we can download as many emulators as we want. So Retroarch will cover around 75-80% of systems, but there are particular systems which Retroarch doesn't cater for, such as RPCS 3 and the original Xbox, as well as Switch. But we're just going to leave this to Retroarch for now. Something else we're going to download here is Steam ROM Manager. Now if we install this as well. Okay, so if I go to install, at the moment this seems to be down for me. So what we're going to do is just press close, and we're actually going to use standalone parsers. And what we're going to do first of all is just add Retroarch and go to save parsers. And we're going to go to close, and we're also going to download EmulationStation. If we just download this one and install it, this is what's going to bring us into the Emu Deck application itself, into the front end. Okay, ESDE is installed, so we're just going to go to close on that, and that's it, we're all done now. Tragically, if we go back to manage emulators, like I was saying, the Steam ROM Manager isn't actually parsing anything to Steam at the moment. I've looked into this during this video, and it's a bug at the moment with this latest release of Emu Deck for Windows. But don't fret, we can likely get this in Steam itself. First of all, we need to go into the directory of where everything's been installed. So if we just open up a Windows Explorer, everything is going to be installed into your C drive. And in your C drive, you're going to find a users folder. And you'll go into your systems folder. In my case, it's Jamie. And we're going to find EmuDeck just here. Here we go. Here's EmulationStation DE that we've just installed. And in emulators, we've got Retroarch. So what we're going to do first of all is go into the EmulationStation Desktop Edition folder. And let's just create a shortcut of this so it appears on the desktop. So just right click on it, show more options, sends to, and desktop. So if we now go to the desktop, we can open up EmulationStation Desktop Edition from here. Like I say, we can't actually parse this into the Steam library at the moment, but there is a way around this. If we open up Steam, and remember you do need to install this, what we can do for now is just go down to add a game, which is at the bottom left hand side, and then you can go to add a non-Steam game. Okay, so add a non-Steam game. So you're going to end up with a window like this. If we just type in ESDE, we'll find it just here. And just make sure that's checked, and then add selected programs. And here we go. So we now got EmulationStation Desktop Edition imported into Steam. So if we go to play, and here we go then. So like I say, normally the Steam ROM Manager will do this for you, but that is a way around to fixing that. Next thing we need to do then is actually start importing some games into EmuDeck. So to do this, we're going to go to Create Directories. This will create directories for all the game systems defined. So we're going to go to Proceed, just going to press Enter on this. Okay, and press Enter again, and quit. Now, if we come out of here, we're going to look for that directory for the games where they're going to go. So we're going to open up the Windows Explorer again. And again, we're going to go down to Users and into your System folder. And from here, we're going to find EmuDeck again. From EmuDeck, we'll go to EmulationStation Desktop Edition. And we're going to find ROMs just here. This is what's just been created. Now, we're going to see lots of different folders here with different systems ranging from the 3.0 right down to the ZX Spectrum. So I've got some games on my desktop and we're going to start adding some of these. So first of all, I'm going to go to the NES folder, and we're also going to find a text document in each one of these folders. If I just open this up, and it's going to tell us just here the file extensions that we need for Nintendo NES. It's going to tell us we can use .3DZen, which is 3D emulator for Nintendo NES. We got .zip at the end, so several files are accepted for Nintendo NES. So I've got a NES folder here, and these 3 games I got are in .zip. So if I just copy and paste those, or just copy them across. Next we got is Nintendo 64. So in that ROMs folder, N64, and like I said, we've also got another text document in here. So if I go into my N64 games and just drag and drop those, and if I open up the system info again, my N64 games are in .Z64, and if we look at supported file extensions, we should find .Z64 just here, which it is, so that's good. And finally, we got Mega Drive. If we go to the Mega Drive folder, I've got my Mega Drive games here. I've got 3 of those, and also in .zip. And again, just to make sure these are going to show in EmulationStation, and yes, they will .zip. Now, if you've got games in a file extension which aren't listed here, they won't show in EmulationStation, so just be aware of that. So anyways, we can now launch EmulationStation either through the shortcut on the desktop we created, or we can go back to Steam and actually open up from here. And here we go, very awesome stuff. So I've just connected my Xbox controller through Bluetooth and it's working straight out the box. So this is the systems we've added: Nintendo 64, I've got Nintendo NES, and I've got Sega Mega Drive or Sega Genesis. Okay, so we can now start adding some artwork. If I press start button, this is going to bring up main menu. If I go to scraper and press my A button on my controller, scrape these games, I want to scrape all the artwork for all of my games. And scrape from, I'm going to lead this to screen scraper. We're going to go down to scrape these systems in check N64, NES and Mega Drive and go back. Account settings, Screen Scraper username. Now you need to head over to Screen Scraper website and sign up with them. It's absolutely free. And once you've got your username and password, you can then put them in here. And if we again go to back and under content settings, we can choose just here the type of artwork we want for our games. So I'm going to leave everything checked as default. And if I go to other settings, we can also change the box art for a game. So for example, under region, if I wanted it to scrape artwork for American box games, then I'll just go to USA. But since I'm in Europe, I'm going to leave it to Europe. And I'm going to go down to start. And this is now going to start scraping artwork for our games. Okay then, so 9 games successfully scraped. If I press OK, and if I then go back into say N64 and Nintendo NES, and once I'm inside a system, like I'm in Nintendo NES now, if I just press right on my D-pad, I can then switch between systems. So we can also download additional themes. If we again go into main menu by pressing start, from here we can go down to UI settings, which is user interface settings, theme downloader, and proceed. And here we go. So we got lots of amazing themes here to download. So what I'm going to do is randomly download this one just here, Canvas. And that's going to download like it's saying. And just be mindful that some of these themes can be pretty sizable. So if you don't have much space on your hard drive, then just be very cautious of what you're downloading. And I'm also going to download CoinOps, which is a fairly good theme. Okay, if I then come out of here by pressing B on my controller and drop down one to theme, and just here you're going to find those themes that we just downloaded. So the first theme I downloaded was Canvas. If I press A on this and press B to come out, here we go, we now got this Canvas theme. And again, main menu, UI settings, theme, and I can now apply CoinOps and press B to come out. And here we go, we got a brand new theme. Okay, so in some cases, before we launch a game for a particular system, we do need to make sure it's using the correct Retroarch core emulator. So to do this, I'm going to go into Nintendo NES. Whilst I'm in here, I'm going to press start on my controller to go to main menu. If I drop down to other settings and go into alternative emulators, I've got my NES section just here. And I can change this if I want to use a different emulator. So we're going to try this on Mesm, which is default, and open up a game. And as you can see, that's booting just fine. I won't bother with much gameplay because I'm sure you've seen Gremlins 2 over and over again. So to exit that game, my hotkeys I've used are start and select on my controller. Now if I open up an N64 game, and again this is working fine. Now, whilst we're using Retroarch cores, in my case I got an Xbox button. If I press Xbox button, I can go into the Retroarch quick menu. From here, I can save states. If I go down to save states, I can save where I am in the game. And if I press the Xbox button again and go down to load state, it's then loaded back where I just saved it from. And from the quick menu, if I press B and B again, we can then go to quit. So if you're having issues with your hotkeys, that's an easy way to exit and come back into EmulationStation. Now if we open up a Mega Drive game, I'm going to show you how to download some very cool things to use with our games. Again, it takes, just go into quick menu, Xbox for me, the Xbox button that is, or you can press F1 on your keyboard. From here, if I press B to come out, and then go down to online updater, from here, if I just scroll down, I'm going to go down to update slang shaders. And I'm also going to update overlays. And I can even add cheats to my games using Retroarch. So update cheats. Okay, so once that's finished extracting, we can actually apply cheats very easily. If we stay within the Retroarch quick menu, just go to quick menu at the top. And if we scroll down, we're going to find cheats. And because we just downloaded a massive cheats pack, we can start adding cheats to our games. So I got Kid Chameleon here playing. So first of all, I'm going to go to apply after toggle, press A to turn this on. And we're going to go down to load cheat file append. If I go into this one, you're going to find lots of different folders here. So obviously we're using the Sega Mega Drive just here. And here it is, Sega Mega Drive Genesis. And this is going to list cheats for pretty much every commercial or licensed Mega Drive or Genesis game. So we're playing Kid Chameleon, so all I'm doing is pressing my RB button on my Xbox controller. And we're going to look for Kid Chameleon. Here we go. So we got Kid Chameleon Rumbles, Kid Chameleon USA Action Replay Cheats, and we got Kid Chameleon USA Europe.cht. This is the one I'm going to use. Press A. And what we're going to do next is just scroll downwards, and this is now showing us a list of lots of different cheats for Kid Chameleon. So if I want to use infinite time, press A to go in, and down to enabled, I'm going to press A to turn that on. And if I then come out by pressing B, I'm going to go to apply changes. And once we go into the game again, those cheats are going to be applied. You can use as many cheats as you want just here. And other things that we just downloaded through Online Updater in Retroarch quick menu is shaders. If we turn this on and go down to load preset, shader slang, we got lots of different folders here. Some really interesting ones. If we go down to bezel, mega bezel, presets, I can then start making my games look very cool. You got lots of different options here to give us different effects. Let me just tell you, the numbers just here next to MBZ 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0 represents hard wearing on your CPU and GPU. It's going to string things. If you want something a little bit more lightweight, the further up with numbers you go, say number 5 for example, isn't going to be so stressful. If I apply this just by pressing A, and that's now been applied. If I go back into my game, quick menu, resume, we can now see I've got it applied. Okay, and back into the quick menu. If I go down to on-screen overlay and turn this one on, overlay preset, it says Genesis. If I go back into the game, quick menu, resume. And as we can see, I've now got a Mega Drive or Genesis decoration on the sides, as well as that shader I've applied. So that's how to funk up your retro games. If you're interested in further enhancements to Retroarch, I'll leave the link in my description for a full guide on funking up Retroarch. You can make it look even better than what I've just shown. Now we can even make collections within EmulationStation from main menu. If I go down to game collection settings, I'm going to go to create new custom collection. If I gave this a name, such as say just Jamie for example, and I tick this, we then get collections appear. So to add games to our collections folder, and by pressing Y, it's going to start adding those games I'm selecting into my Just Jamie folder in collections. If I go into Just Jamie, here we go. We now got this collection folder that's being built. And again, if I go to Mega Drive, and again, if I press Y on a game, I can then start adding those into my Just Jamie folder. So we'll add Comic Zones. And again, if we go into collections, okay, and if you get any issues with your controller not reading, then from main menu you can go to input device settings, controller type, and we can choose a particular controller here. For example, if you're using a Nintendo Switch Pro controller, just go down to select Switch Pro. It's working fine for me by Xbox default. And if you want to remap your controller, under input device settings, go down to configure keyboard and controllers, proceed. And to do this, if I press and hold a button on my controller, I can then start mapping out my controller. Okay, and if you want to go back to the main EmuDeck setup, all we need to do is just type into your search bar EmuDeck. And from here, if we go to open file location, here's EmuDeck, and of course we can also send this to the desktop. So just right click on it, show more options, send to desktop. So if I close completely out of this and open it up from my desktop, and here we go, we're back in. Something else I'm going to download whilst we're here is Pegasus. And if I go to install this, once that's been installed, we're just going to go back to the C drive where everything's installed into. And again, it's just a case of going to users and your systems folder, Jamie in my case, down to EmuDeck. And if we then look here, we can find Pegasus. And we can actually boot up Pegasus directly from here. Or if you like the look of this Pegasus front end, then we can happily just go to show more options, sends to desktop create shortcut. And here's Pegasus. So this is now automatically imported my games. Very awesome stuff. So I'm not going to go too in depth with Pegasus, but if we just play a game, for example, if I go for, say, balls. And here we go. Now, of course, if you want Pegasus imported into Steam, then since the Steam ROM manager isn't working, if I press escape on my controller just to go to quit, and we're going to exit Pegasus, we can actually import this manually, like we did just a minute ago with ESDE. So simply go to add a game, add a non-Steam game, and we're just going to wait for add non-Steam game list to build. Here we can go to Pegasus and we can then select Pegasus-FE.exe, add selected programs, and here we go. So we now have our desktop to open up Pegasus as well as in Steam. So go to play. And here we go, we're straight back in. So again, to exit Pegasus, press escape, quit, and we're going to go to exit Pegasus. And that's it for today's EmuDeck setup guide for Windows PC. Like I say, it's a bit of a shame that the Steam ROM manager isn't working, but there is a method of getting those imported into your Steam library like I've just showed you to do so. So in terms of EmulationStation Desktop Edition, it's a very good platform, a very good front end to emulator, and I always recommend this one. It's constantly getting updates, and we hope that on the next update of this, the Steam ROM manager and the parsing is going to be sorted or fixed. Pegasus front end itself is a very awesome front end, so you've got the best of both worlds just here. Anyways, if you like the video today, hit notifications, subscribe and like so you don't miss out on upcoming retro emulation content. Also feel free to join me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. But until next time, stay retro.